Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. Yes, I have made it on time. And some of you were bugging me yesterday to try to kind of cover the, news about someone in my state who is in trouble. Who is in trouble in my state? Well, you might know it is our Attorney General. Her name is Letitia, also known as Tish James. Now, that's not my nickname. She often goes by Tish James. So I'm not insulting her by using that nickname. She accepts that nickname just for clarity purposes. So she often goes by Tish James, and she is our Attorney General, and she's in some trouble. Now, is it that bad? Maybe. It could be, hold on, it could be very bad. And why would it be so bad? It's so bad. Let me see if I can grab this real fast. I apologize this here. And it could be so bad because a lot of people right now are trying to get her to actually be charged. Now, why does that matter? New York senior people often get in trouble, but it's the charging part that often doesn't happen. For those of you who remember, my former governor, Andrew Cuomo, he got in some trouble. Where were those charges though? Oh, right, nowhere. I told you he made a deal and they went away. And Eric Adams, they went away too. Isn't it funny how they all just go away like that? That's kind of funny how they all go away. They just go away. Kind of funny, but very true. And on top of that, if you remember back in the day, Eliot Spitzer, he also got in trouble and his stuff just kind of went away. It always just goes away. So this one may not though. And I want to let you know, those who don't know, she has been accused of something. And I'm going to show you, if I could, a little bit from The Hills Rising. They give you a decent overview. Then I'm going to cover a couple others, and we're going to see what you guys think about this. And I'm going to tell you what I think about it too, obviously, and what I think could actually happen. And why this is happening, by the way. That's number one piece is, why is this happening? That's always the key.
The Trump administration is waging war against New York Attorney General Letitia James. The AG, who won a civil fraud trial against President Trump, is being accused of mortgage fraud. Yes. James has been referred for potential criminal prosecution, but is not yet facing any charges.
Trump stripped James of security clearances back in February, along with Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, who prosecuted the president in his hush money case.
So Trump got mad. And as I said, he can be petty, and he was petty. And he goes, okay, you guys are bad people, so you can't have a security clearance anymore. Done and done. Yes. That is what Trump did. And now this is happening. You might go, Larry, he's just being petty. There's something more
now,
here.
James is accusing the Trump administration of weaponizing the government. And her supporters see it as the latest example of Trump making good on his promise to seek retribution against his political enemies.
Now, just to be clear, whether you like or don't like Trump, he did say retribution when he ran. So, again, he's kind of doing the thing.
Scholar and Professor Jonathan Turley went on Fox News to discuss the allegations with Laura Ingraham. Let's take a look.
The irony is perfectly crushing. This is a person who prosecuted Trump for everything short of ripping a label off a mattress. And among the charges that were brought in New York, in not just the civil but the criminal case, was making false or misleading statements to financial institutions.
This is the part that really makes her look bad. And this goes back to the piece that I talked about earlier. For those of you who remember, it's about 20 years ago now. Is that about right? Maybe more, 25 years ago now. That Eliot Spitzer, who was a Democratic governor in New York State, he had to step down because he was bringing ladies of the evening, professional women, if you know what I mean, across state lines, and he was paying them for services. Now, I'm a libertarian. That's not a crime. All right. it is, but in my eyes, how about that? In my eyes, that's not a crime. Consenting adults do what they want to do, and they were adults. So to be clear, I'll give Spitzer that. They were adults. So, but am I mad about that? I'm not at all. What am I mad about? Spitzer broke the law that he signed. I'm not joking. Because he was all about trafficking and the women of the night. He was putting people in jail, ruining their lives. Spitzer was doing that, ruining their lives based upon this law when he was attorney general, because he was attorney general before. Remember, AG in New York State doesn't mean attorney general. It means aspiring governor. So that's AG in New York State. So he became governor, but he was putting people in jail for that. He did exactly what he prosecuted people for. That's why I'm glad that hypocrite's gone. Not because of what he did. I don't care what he did. I care that he was the guy who literally ruined people's lives over that thing, then did that thing. Now, the other problem is, what charges did he have? To remember all the charges that they gave him. Oh, right, none. He just stepped down and it was forgotten. Similar to another guy, Andrew Cuomo, who also was our attorney general. Again, AG in New York stands for aspiring governor. That's how that works. Well, who's our AG now? It's James, aspiring governor. She, of course, wrecked Trump, right? 400 million, whatever the dollars was he had got to pay because of paperwork on a loan. And now it's her. This is why it's bad.
Clay Travis posted on X, New York AG Letitia James being prosecuted for lying about her assets to get a mortgage after prosecuting Trump for lying about his assets to get a bank loan would be too perfect. They always
100%.
accuse you of what they actually did.
What's that saying? Every attack is an admission.
Your Stone says, Tish, get this through your extremely fat head. Nice. You are busted with indisputable federal mortgage fraud. None of your phony press releases are going to distract anyone. Look for the FBI on your doorstep one morning soon.
Now, here's the funny part. If this was state charges, no chance anything bad happens to her. If these were state charges, but they're not. I'm not sure why they're not state charges. But remember, I've told you this before, and you guys always think I'm joking. This is why, to me, this is delicious. I mean, it is. I don't mean to be mean towards James, but the government in general. Why would this be federal charges? It shouldn't be. It should be state charges, which is why she didn't care, because she thinks if it's state charges, she's safe. True. If the feds don't charge her and New York State charges her, she's good. She's done. She'll either get pardoned by Kathy Hochul, or she'll walk away, or she'll make some deal. If it's state charges, she might still just stay AG. I mean, like nothing could happen. She could be fine if it's state charges. If it's federal, Uncle Joe is gone. There's nobody to pardon you now for at least 3.5 more years. 4 years, at least 3.5 more years. There's nobody to pardon you, at least. If the Republicans win in 2028, you got 8 years of no pardoning. Now, also, if it wasn't Trump, right? If it was, say, I don't know, say Marco Rubio was president. Oh my God, please never. But let's say that were true. Rubio is much more of he's much of an establishment guy. He might like let her step down, make some kind of deal. He might do that, right? Not Trump. Not his people. Not Roger Stone. Not Laura Loomer. Those people are not letting Tish go. I think she's really in trouble. I do. And then usually I don't. You've seen me multiple times go, don't worry, it's nothing. I told you already when Cuomo, I told you nothing was going to happen to him. He might just drop out. That's it. I told you that Eric Adams was still going to run. Even when I told you that. I was sure, because these were state charges. And when it came to Eric Adams, everything he did in New York was legal in New York. So you had to rely on a hardcore Trump getting Eric Adams, and he wasn't mad at Eric Adams. So why would he bother? There's no reason. That's why Eric Adams is going to walk. I told you that early. I'm not saying this on Tish, though. I'm not. And she knows she could be in trouble, too. How do I know that? 2 things. Number 1, She's not doing any press conferences. She's keeping it hush-hush. I'm going to show you a bunch of people talking about this. But what you're not going to see is CNN or MSNBC, because that didn't happen. They don't recognize this. Now, here's my prediction already. I'm going to give it to you early already. If by the weekend shows, I always tell you weekend shows matter, don't I? Because they do. Not for me and you. We don't care about them. I watch them because I'm insane. That's why I watch them. You don't have to, though. I do it for you. I take the punishment for you. If the weekend shows, not Fox does not count for this because Fox is all over this. Fox Business, all over this. Newsmax, all over this. If CNN and MSNBC are talking about Tish James and not obviously defending her, like you're going to see, even though the Hill talked about it, you're going to watch Miles completely defend her, only defend her, right? If the shows this weekend are CNN and MSNBC and they are not blatantly defending Tish and blatantly saying Orange Man bad, she's in trouble. That's my call. That is my call. And we'll see then, because that will follow over to next week. And next week, you'll see them start talking about it next week. So,
real bad.
Oh, hold on. Let me grab this if I could. Thank you so much, Duke of Hex, for the $5. When they started charging Trump with stuff, I predicted that the Democrats set a precedent. Charging opposing politicians will now be the norm. I'm not sure it will be the norm, Duke. I'm saying it's the norm with Trump because they hit him. He's gonna hit back. That's the guy he is. Now, if they stop, these guys don't want this, right? They're all part of a similar club. Trump is not. He's still establishment. Don't get me wrong, but he's nowhere near the norm Republican establishment, right? That establishment wants to go back to the old ways. Can we just all like keep taking advantage of our people and like, can we just like pretend like we hate each other? Can we do that? That's what they want. Can we just like do the whole show we do, but then we all like make money in the stock market and we all get tons of money and never change anything? Can we go back to that? The establishment wants that. So I do think whenever Trump leaves office, there's a possibility that it will go back because look, they want stability where they can make cash. And this does shake things up. They don't like that, right? What's the old mafia thing? War is bad for business. Internal war, right? In the mafia, outside war, great, right? Military complex, bomb the brown people someplace else, bomb the Ukrainians, whatever, Russia, bomb them. But in here, no. Bad for business. So yeah, that's what I think. But we'll see. Let me keep going and you'll see what he says.
Why we're quoting Roger Stone of all people.
Well,
so he immediately goes right to the insult. Remember, the first thing that the woke will do, woke right, as you saw the other day, as I was hammering the neocons of the day, but the woke left too, but anyone who's in that world, the first thing they do is dismiss, right? You can't listen to it because it's Roger Stone. Therefore, everything he says is bad and wrong. Done.
Well, I don't approve of of Roger Stone, but
yeah.
I do think the broader point that look, this seems like a kind of trivial matter that things were characterized in the way they were in order to get this this loan, but I think it is a fair and valid point that these in particular prosecutions of Trump really hinged on I's not being dotted properly, T's not being.
This is a point when I don't often agree with Robbie, but in this case, I absolutely do, right? Generally speaking, is what she did, generally speaking, worthy of her having to step down, worthy of her, going to jail? In my personal opinion, no. I don't think what Eliot Spitzer did, in my view, just his actions are worthy of him having to step down as governor. I mean, there are other reasons, but that's not a reason, in my view. Again, my opinion, he shouldn't have to step down for that. And even even having to, go to jail. No. However, if you're going to be the one ruining people's lives and you're in charge doing it, and then you do it, yes, absolutely. You are in charge. You're in a position of extreme power. You wreck people's lives and you do the same thing that you wreck people's lives for. Nope. Go down. I don't have a problem with that at all. I do not at all. Hammer them. Even though, again, if this was like, whatever, you made a mistake on your paperwork, whatever, it's fine. The world's not going to end. If there's a fine or fee to pay or whatever, pay your fine or your fee and move on. But this is different. This is different.
Cross properly in order to pursue him. If you try really hard, this is just the case because there are so many laws on the books. If you try really hard to find someone that someone committed
100%.
some tax or financial matter incorrectly, you will find something. They found something in this case. They found lots of things in Trump's cases. They have, a wide range of merit, how merited they are, in my view. So I think I do take Jonathan Turley's point here.
It is an embarrassing case for.
Now watch him defend her, and that's the key. This is what we're looking for this weekend on the weekend shows. Are Democrats either ignoring this, a win for Tish James, or are they absolutely defending her, a win for Tish James? If they're talking about it, not openly defending her, she's in trouble.
Tish James. But let me first dispute the dot the I's and cross the T's thing in Trump's case.
You're wrong.
Because Trump was perceived to have gained to the tune of perhaps billions of dollars by misrepresenting his assets. Some of those may...
That was not proven, by the way. That's true that they said it, but the question becomes, do the people who he was working with, do they feel it? Are they angry? Are they upset?
Be debatable, where you say, well, this property is worth this, rather than that.
It
included, though, him saying that his own apartment in Trump Tower was around 30,000 square feet, when it is in fact around 10,000 square feet. It involved him saying that Mar-a-Lago would be able to be redeveloped when it does not have planning permission for that to be the case, or for a separate Trump building in New York. He basically glossed over the fact that a large number of the apartments are rent controlled, and
everything now is saying is true, absolutely accurate. But the question is, he did this so he can get a loan from Deutsche Bank, which is his bank. He does lots of work with Deutsche Bank, right? The question was Deutsche Bank unhappy? Did they feel like they were taken for a ride? Did they feel like they lost money? Any of those things? Did Deutsche Bank, when this happened, did they go, great, let's go get Trump and let's get our money back? No.
Pretended that they weren't, and they were market value in terms of creating.
How is that different at all in character from Letitia James listing her father as her husband for whatever the tax purposes were?
Because the scale of it is so different. Because in Tish James's case, and I'm not sure that we exactly explained what the issue is. The accusation is that
This is the defense, and this will be the defense. I'm telling you this because you're going to hear this defense. Defense is, yeah, so she bought a house or whatever. It's a couple of bucks. This right here is, billions. See? The scale is what it is. That's the defense, right? That is the defense. So, Phil, thank you for being a member, brings up a good point. Lou Rossman said that it's almost standard for New York City real estate. Everyone's going down if the court brings out a tape measure. Accurate. What they call it, there's a difference. What's it called? It's like livable space versus space or something like that. In New York City real estate, Phil is correct, they count space that you can't use. I'm not joking. So they go, it's a 2,000 square foot apartment. Awesome. You walk in and go, it's small. Well, yeah, that also includes the pillar that is 10 by 10. What? Yeah, it's a 10 by 10 pillar. Wow, that's 100 square feet. Yep, that counts. It's a pillar. It's a wall, basically. Yes, and that counts. And you pay for that in New York City. Phil is correct. So space that isn't usable in New York City is counted to make it sound bigger, right? So, here's a big area, and this area is basically, it's the electronics room where all like the HVAC is. Well, I can't live there. Correct. Well, that's another, 30 square feet. Yes, you pay for that. I can't use it. Correct. You pay for it. That is how New York City real estate works. So if you have a bunch, there's times where it's only about half of what they say. They say it's 2,000 square foot. It's 1,000, but you're paying for 2,000. Phil's correct. Lou Rawson talks about it all the time. It's one of the reasons why he left New York City. So he's gone now. That is true. This is accurate. Thank you for that, Phil.
A relative of hers was buying a house in Virginia.
That's not the bad
Tish
one.
James.
All right, I'm going to get out of this one. I'm going to give you another one, but you'll see. That's the defense. The defense, and he defends her, right? So don't think that it's so obvious that Democrats aren't going to defend her. Oh, they will. Remember something, whatever you might be thinking. But Larry, it's so obvious. But remember this important thing. And Mike Voss, if you're watching, got to remember this. Orange man bad. See? That's the magic words. That's everything is fine now because I said the magic words. You guys don't understand magic words. They're powerful. They are. They're powerful. All right, let me grab this is a Fox News one. This is a fast one. This is pretty quick, but this guy talks about it too. This is like a Fox and Friends or something, whatever it is. One of the Fox shows. Only Fox is covering this and Newsmax. So yes, but this is what they're talking about.
Then apparently, reportedly, misrepresented herself on documents.
Hold on.
Volumes.
Let me go to the front.
For a New York Attorney General, Letitia James, for possible prosecution.
Yep.
Over suspected, get this, fraud over a mortgage on a house in Virginia.
Well, let's be clear, though, on something here, just so you're aware of this. This is not happening tomorrow. This will be multiple weeks before they make a decision, right? 2 or 3 weeks at least. They now have to, it depends on how good the people are who put together the request, right? If they basically gave the entire case up, yeah. If they didn't, they have to do their own homework. And that homework could take weeks. And don't get me wrong, Pam Bondi will be like, everybody on it. But the reason why I can guarantee you why Tish James isn't leaving her house. Like, I'm not joking. Like, she's holed up. Why? She has right now, she's figuring out how to get out of this, how to defend myself. And here's the best part. If you're a Democrat, she is good. I'm just being forward. She has stepped in a pile of it, but she's no dummy. Tish James is no dummy. She is a smart woman. She's a savvy woman. She's a good attorney general when it comes to the law. She is good. I'm just saying she's working on it right now.
Todd Pyro joins us now with the details. Todd?
Good morning to all four of you. Remember that song from the 90s, Things That Make You Go, This is that. The Ingram angle obtaining documents from the Federal Housing Finance Agency accusing James of, quote, falsifying records in order to meet certain lending requirements and receive favorable loan terms. Now, here is what she's accused of doing. 1, listing a home in Virginia as her primary residence in 2023 while serving as New York's top prosecutor.
Now, why is that really bad? That's really bad because the law is very clear in New York State. New York State is, and this is one of the reasons why RFK Jr. couldn't get on our ballot. New York State, we are insanely sticklers for where you live. I'm not joking. We are insanely sticklers for it. Buddy of mine, you guys may know him, Tim O'Connor, got thrown off a ballot because his property was on I'm not joking, on a border of 2 different areas, and he put the wrong area in because his mailing address was different than where the majority of his property was. Threw him off the ballot. RFK Jr. threw off the ballot. We literally, we care about this. You can't be governor of New York unless you've lived in New York for the past 12 years. Yes, we are sticklers. I don't know why my state is that way, but where do you live? Like, we care about that a lot. It says in the law, if you don't live in New York State, you cannot be attorney general. That's in the law. So if she says this is, and again, she was attorney general when she put this document in, which is paperwork, which means one of 2 things. She was lying on purpose, and this was not her primary residence, or it was, and she was lying or defrauding New York State because she had to step down as attorney general. Now, if she had stepped down as attorney general, problem solved. If she had done that, right? Oh, I want to move to Virginia. I'm going to step down as attorney general. Then there's no issue here. Well, she didn't do either of those 2 things. So, and New York State, we do not play when it comes to where you live. Other states, New Hampshire's like, yeah, whatever. Not New York. Where do you live? I want to go there. I want to know you live there. we are serious about that. So this is a big deal.
2, James reportedly also listed her father as her husband on mortgage applications.
That part that doesn't bother me before with you. And you might say, why? Here's the reason why. Because she was like 20 something, and it's like 1983, it's like 40 years ago. She wasn't the attorney general, and she was trying to get a mortgage with like her family member or something. That part I don't care about. I think that to me is BS. That we should throw out immediately. Who cares? So you were 20 years old, 40 years, she's 66 now. So she was 20 something then, and you bought a house with your dad because you couldn't get a mortgage because you were 20 something. So you pretended you were whatever, fine. That to me is crossing the T's and dotting the I's. I don't care about. You weren't attorney general, whatever. That goes back to I don't care. Now, that's a little spice on it. I get it. But that one I don't care about. But this one? You were attorney general? Yeah, that's it. Joel says it. Tish James, too male, too pale, too stale. Yes. Boy, is that coming back to beat you. Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
And 3, the Federal Housing Finance Agency says she bought a 5-family home in Brooklyn, but misrepresented the same property as only having 4 units in building permit applications and numerous.
Now, the reason why you do that, for those you don't know, again, New York City, we care about how many units you have. A lot, like a lot. So if you have, say, 5 units versus 4, well, that changes whether you can have a mixed use unit or not. Can you have a storefront or not? Which changes your insurance, which changes everything you do, changes how you can build and grow. Also deals with rent control. Yes, it does. We have rent control in New York City. So if you have more than 3, it's X. If more than 10, it's Y. Everything relies on that. And again, I want to be clear on that. When she bought this, she was attorney general. It is her responsibility to know that law, isn't it? And of course she knows. I'm not an attorney. I know that law, right? So of course she knows that law. Of course she does. If you live in New York City and you've been around any type of buying of any real estate at all, you know we care about how many units are in your building. And that's why she misrepresented it. Again, crossing I's, crossing T's, dotting I's, whatever she's doing, those things. And again, if it was just me, and that's all, she's just some person, whatever, pay your fine, move on, whatever, who cares? She's attorney general. And she was talking about the powerful can't this and the powerful this. Well, Miss Powerful, now what?
Documents. Now, this, of course, is a role reversal of sorts for James.
Of sorts.
In 2022, she won a $454 million civil fraud judgment against President Trump and the Trump Organization, stating he falsified business records and misrepresented his net worth. That case currently on appeal. James frequently sat in the courtroom throughout those proceedings.
Look at that.
No love lost.
Now, wouldn't it be funny if she actually has to go to court and Trump shows up? Damn. What's that saying? He who laughs last?
Between the two, as you can see in some of these pictures.
I just want to reiterate again. I don't think what she did or what Trump did, either one of those two, I would dismiss both of those, right? If it's me, if I had the power, I'd just, who cares? If there's some fine to pay your fine and move on, right? Both of them are nothing. I don't care. I would have dismissed Trump's and hers. Whatever, I don't care. These things don't matter to me. But she was a hypocrite, and she has power.
President Trump reacting to the new accusations against her, writing on Truth Social. Letitia James, a totally corrupt politician, should resign from her position as New York State Attorney General immediately. Everyone is trying to make New York great again, and it can never be done with this wacky crook in office.
Now, why is this happening, you might say? Why is he doing this? You might say to yourself, well, Larry, it's because he's just petty. Yes, that's true, but that isn't the only reason. Isn't the only reason. What is he doing? I told you what AG stands for, didn't I? It stands for aspiring governor. He knows that Kathy Hochul is weak in New York. And the only way you beat Kathy Hochul in New York is through a primary. Well, who would primary her? Tish James. Yes. She threatened last time Some of you don't remember that. I do. I was very busy getting my ass kicked in 2022, and I was part of it. So yeah, that actually happened. And she decided, no, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to wait my turn and see what happens with Hochul. Now, as I told you, Tish is smart. She's smart and savvy. She knows what Hochul is not. I don't mean to be mean. It's true. Hochul's nowhere near as smart and savvy as Tish is. That's true. So what did I tell you why Hochul was going to go out and fight Trump? Hochul went down to D.C. and decided she was going to go fight Trump. I'm going to go threaten. I can deal with the pardoning. I can do all this stuff, blah, 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 right? Hochul said she controls the government. She controls the judges. Hochul said that. And it's true. She does. She's not wrong. That's true. And Trump went, oh, okay. First off, I'm going to put Elise back in New York, Elise Stefanik. Then I'm going to float her winning. Then I'm going to take out the only person who can beat you, which is James. And now it's you against Stefanik. Yes, this is a bigger play. I don't think Trump thought of it. It'd be very fun. I don't think he did. I think his people thought of it. Trump's doing this stuff. I can't imagine Trump was sitting there thinking, how do I fix New York? He didn't think about this. Trump did not think about this. This was his people who went, boss, got an idea. Got an idea. And he went, beautiful, do it. That's what happened. I don't know that, but I know that. Like, I know that's what happened. Even though I don't know that, 100%. Like, I'd bet money that happened. Somebody who knows New York, maybe Elise herself, who knows? And I told you, if you remember, I told you when Hochul went down there, Hochul did not do the smart, savvy thing. Remember I told you, everyone was like, oh, the Republicans sent Elise back to New York because they're afraid they're going to lose that district. That district is upstate New York. That district is North Country. That district is not going Democrat. That's a fantasy. It's not going to happen. So why they sent her back? They sent her back because what actually happened is Hochul was like, yeah, I'll decide when and if I told you this, when and if there'll be a special election. And if I don't give you a special election, you may not be able to push your stuff back in Congress. That's what Hochul went there, scolding, being tough, because she said it. I'm going to be tough. Yeah, that's number one. Second thing Hochul told Trump, yeah, you want to get an appeal in New York State? We'll see how that works. I control the judges. So give me what I want. I control the judges. I'll decide. And Trump went, oh, okay, that's 2 cards you got. It's true. And then Trump said, let me take card number 1. Let me take card number 2. Took both her cards. Hochul is in a mess now. Who's going to fight Trump without her Kingslayer? Letitia James is her Kingslayer. He's just taken out Hochul's knight. Gone. She's taken out. Even if she doesn't go down, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she gets around this somehow, right? Maybe she gets around this somehow. It's possible she does. Totally possible she gets around it somehow. And if she does, she still can't attack anymore, though, because now her reputation is broken. Whoever thought of this in the Trump team, nicely done. Nicely done.
Fox News contributor and law professor Jonathan Turley also weighing in. Watch.
The irony is perfectly crushing. This is a person who prosecuted Trump for everything short of ripping a label off a mattress. As for James, if we apply the Letitia James standard that she created, there'd be little question here.
Correct.
This seems pretty straightforward.
Letitia James has not responded to our request for comment.
Surprise!
It is such a crazy story. But Todd, I mean, there she is on an application. She says that her occupation is Attorney General for the state of New York. But at the same time, she says, my primary residence is in Virginia. Huh?
Yes.
And I want to be clear. I think I may have said 2002. I believe it was 2003 that the case against Trump started. That is when she applied for this. So the fact that she accused and won in court against President Trump on charges involving documents, the fact that she then apparently, reportedly misrepresented herself on documents speaks volumes, and will be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Todd, what would be the point of listing that as your primary residence? So you can pay taxes in Virginia and not New York?
That appears to be unclear. I mean, look, inevitably she is paid by...
No, the reason why you do that is you get cheaper insurance and cheaper rates, if mortgage rates, if you have a primary residence. The assumption being that if it's my primary residence, then the odds of me defaulting on that mortgage or letting that house fall apart are less likely than if it's an investment property or something secondary. That's the logic behind it. That's why they do it. That's the reason.
The state of New York.
Yeah.
So her income taxes, but I'm no tax law expert. Presumably, when you do something like that, there is a tax reason. It could be connected to some familial
It's a mortgage issue. He doesn't know it's a mortgage issue. So yeah, I just want you guys to see that part. Let me grab a couple comments if I could. All right. I do appreciate this, guys. And if you like, I got more. I do have more. If you're liking this, and I know you are because you're watching, click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Click that button. If you don't click it, you're saying your primary residence is actually in Virginia. And I know for most of you, it's not. So why are you lying like that? Don't lie. You know what? I'm going to jail like maybe her. We'll see. So click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Click that like button. And also, if you have not already, share this someplace. Guys, if you share this someplace and other people see it, then they may share it someplace. And you know who loves it? Mr. Rhythm. Mr. Rhythm. Al Gore. Rhythm loves it. So please do it. Please also follow me, as always, on Sharpe Way on Facebook, X, and Rumble. If you want your chat to go right to the front, you can super chat me right to the front. Super chat me on YouTube, or you can rant me on Rumble. Either one of those. I'm on both of those right now. I'm actually I'm right now live on X, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, Getter, Vimeo, a bunch. I'm on like 8. So yes, please, any of them, do so. It does matter. You want to help the show out the most? Become a member. Click that join button. I try to grab the members first if I possibly can. $4.99 on YouTube, $4.99 on Rumble. Click that join button or click the subscribe button during the live. So let me grab a couple of comments if I could. First thing, I'm looking over on Rumble and Joel says, Tish James may be seen as dangerous politician, even by her own side. They may let her burn. Hochul would let her burn now because now she's tarnished now. So she might. But they would have supported themselves maybe. They wouldn't have let her burn. They just would have let her leave, right? Hochul would be happy just let her leave. So, yeah. That probably is what would have happened. Just would have just let her, like they let Cuomo walk away. They let her. They let Spitzer walk away. Same thing. Yes. Calvin on X says she's not worse than Donald Trump. Well, there we go. I guess the idea is the scale. Calvin, is that where your head is? The scale piece? Okay. All right. Mike says position and go to jail. There's no excuse. I don't think she's going to jail. I don't see it, Mike. I know you always want Democrats to go to jail. I know. I don't think she's going to jail. I think she will make some type of deal if it gets close to that. Again, she is a savvy prosecutor, a savvy AG. If she thinks there's any chance for jail time, she will make a deal. That's what she does for a living. She'll make a deal. Just like Cuomo did. Cuomo made a deal. I told you all Cuomo was going to make a deal. She'll make a deal too. I think she's got a shot, though. Cuomo was never even going to get actually charged officially. She might get charged, Mike. I think you're right. She could get charged. She might get a conviction. She might get convicted. That's possible. No jail time. She'll make some kind of deal. I don't see it. No jail time. So, yeah. He goes on to say, to answer the title, yes, she's a lawyer. She's an elected official. She's the AG. She knows the law. She's due to the public and fully aware of the consequences. She needs to lose her license. Now that, yes. Can you imagine if that's what she agrees to, Mike? She might do something like that, right? Because if you're convicted of a felony in New York State, you lose your law license. And she knows that. So if she makes a deal, that will be what happens. She'll lose a law license. She can't be a lawyer anymore. She'll be like, I don't know. They'll have to give her she'll be like a pundit on CNN or something. On MSNBC, she'll be a pundit on MSNBC or something. So yeah, that might happen. So I could see that. I could see her losing a license. I don't see jail time. Look, if she actually got convicted and lost her law license, politically, she's finished. I mean, so it would matter. Politically, she's finished. It's irrelevant. So yes. Matt is teasing me. Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with us. Yes, it's true. But I used to say with me, but yes, with us is good. Absolutely, yes, that's true. And then I give the time. That is kind of is my thing. So yes, this way I can remember it every single time. Liberty says, I say that alone with Larry too. Thank you. We're all saying it together. Yes. Michael's on to say, notice how the left lean avoids and minimizes the crime committed. Yes. This is, Mike, you bring up a valid point. That will be the defense. The defense will be, it's not a big deal, Mike. What's wrong with you? It's like a house. Come on. What Trump did is way worse. That will be the defense. Will it work? That will be the defense. Pete coming on in, 36 trillion, 300. I'm sorry, I made an error in reading. I always read this correctly. Have I made an error reading this? I don't think I have. Maybe the first time. I'll try it though. See, Pete, you threw me off. I wasn't ready for this one at this point. I probably should have done it earlier. I wasn't looking through the comments as early as I could have. 36 trillion, 213 billion, 590 million, $712,228.65. And of course, as I spoke about it, it got higher. There we go. Phil says Cuomo, Spitzer, Hochul, and James for Dannemora, not Dannemora, Dannemora. Yes. Those of you know, Dannemora is that prison upstate New York where they had that escape. They made a movie about it. Yes. So, I mean, that would be nice. That'd be nice. Yes. So, alrighty. Andrea says she actually got better rates, whereas the bank said his assertion didn't change the rate he was getting. You're exactly right, Andrea. The bank said Trump's rates didn't change, and the bank said he paid us back. We don't care. And literally, for those who don't know, reps from Deutsche Bank actually testified at Trump's trial. I'm not making this up. And they actually said, yeah, we don't care. The rates were the same, and he paid us back. We don't care. We don't feel cheated at all. That's what Deutsche Bank reps said. Now, could they be lying? I get maybe, but they could have got their cut of that $400 million. They could have got their cut. They didn't want it. So yes. So, all righty. Nico says she will never be our governor. True. This is the end of her governor race right here. End of her governor race. The end of her governor race right there. Absolutely. So yeah. All righty. Little Libertarian, thank you for being a member. He is in the house. He says Trump is literally ripping the federal government to shreds, and I'm loving it. A lot of people are. But lunatic, as you know, it's scary. And you are seeing Trump's numbers begin to shake. His poll numbers. Why? Because it's scary. People are afraid. They get scared and go, I don't know if I really want this. You are having people get scared. The question is, can Trump calm the people enough? Can he motivate them enough, right, to do that? Maybe, right? If he can, he's fine. If he can't, he's going to be in trouble, right? The reality of it is people are going to start getting scared. They are going to start getting scared. And they are now already because people don't like this stuff. They don't think, you know this. I'm preaching, you're not chatted before. People get scared. It's true. They get scared. So Phil says politicians function like skull and bones. They have mutual blackmail to keep each other in line. I like that. That's good. All right. So let me grab another one if I could. This one is from Fox Business News. So way different. I mean, not really, but anyway, a little bit different. This one's Fox Business News. And so now I've shown you The Hill, Fox News, and now Fox Business News, all covering it. Huh. Okay.
Administration accused New York Attorney General Letitia James of mortgage fraud. They've made a criminal referral to the Justice Department seeking federal prosecution. The Attorney General's office responded saying this: Attorney General James is focused every single day on protecting New Yorkers, especially as this administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution.
Mike, how do you feel? You feel safe? Nico, you feel safe? She's protecting New Yorkers. I feel it. I feel her love. Thank you, AG James. Thank you. I feel the love.
He will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are.
Because you're tough.
Andrew Cherkasky joins me now. Is Trump playing his own form of lawfare in New York?
Well, I think they say...
That is, by the way, that's a valid question, right? Is Trump doing what he said that others shouldn't do? Is that it? Right? And it's a valid question. It's a valid question. So, peace showing up. My primary residence is in Virginia. There we go. So you could be Attorney General of New York now, Peace, because Tish James is. So there we go. You could be Attorney General. If she can do it, you can. I trust Peace more. I think Peace actually does care about me and all of us more than she does. If Peace were to put out an article that said he's focusing on protecting New Yorkers from Virginia, I would believe him more than I believe Tish James. I would. So, Peace, maybe you got to run next time, 2026. If she can do it, so can you. That's all I'm saying.
People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Right.
It's beyond ironic that the allegations that she's now facing stem from the exact same types of mortgage fraud or loan type fraud that Trump went through.
Very similar.
That incredible civil trial on, where he defended himself, and he said that those banks and those financial institutions that he dealt with had acknowledged and had their own fair opportunity to look into. And
yes, and that's the point, right? How it works, for those who don't know, how it works in this world is they literally say, here is my data. You look at it. That's how it works in real estate. I'm not making that up. So if I say I make $1 bazillion a year and I put 1 bazillion, it's the real estate company looks at it and goes, okay, yeah or no. They look at it. Deutsche Bank said, we don't care. There are 2 things, there's 3 things that banks love. 3 things. 3 things banks love. 3. Number 1 thing they love is guaranteed government money. Boy, banks love that. That's the number 1 thing they like, is guaranteed government money. Second thing banks love is just a little cut of every small transaction fees. Boy, do banks love transaction fees. 2 things they love. I said 3 things. The first 2, they love guaranteed government money. That's delicious. That's the best they can possibly get. Number 2, tiny transaction fees. Tons of them by the billions. Love transaction fees. Third things banks love, absolutely love, is loaning money to very wealthy people. Love that. Those are 3 things banks love more than anything else. Those are 3 things they love more than anything else. Trump is a very wealthy person, and they loan money to him. They loved it. Everybody was happy. They didn't care. That's all I'm saying. They didn't care. So, any case. Duke of X, thank you for the $5, my friend. Georgia prosecutor Fannie Willis is sweating. You know, Trump is looking into her document pad. Oh, I did not know that. She already kind of got her butt kicked, though. Like, they've already got a laugh on her. I wonder if she's a priority. Maybe. But I feel like she already took a butt kicking. So he might leave her alone, right? Because he's got other fish to fry. So maybe. So
do their research. The allegations against Letitia James are not quite as friendly to her, and they look quite damning. Now, the DOJ is going to start their investigation. That's going to take some time. Yeah. I don't know how many resources they're going to put.
That's what I'm saying, right? He's right. This is not 5 minutes. I can't see this coming out, tomorrow. I don't see that. This is, I would guess, a couple of weeks. 3 weeks, 4 weeks would be my guess. How long does it take? Depends. Again, his point's valid. Does Pam Bondi say, everybody, stop everything? We're getting the Kingslayer. Does she do that? She does that, it's next week. She does that, it's next week. Guarantee, if she actually does that. But there's a gazillion things going on. And she's already this is already smashing Tish. And there's got to be a part of them that, do you remember, if any of you watched the Star Trek movie, Star Trek 2 from the 80s, 83, 84, maybe in that area? Maybe, no, 82? Anyway, the Star Trek movie, Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan. If you remember during that time, if any of you who are Star Trek fans like I am, I know Mike saw it. I know he's the one to talk about it already. Khan has come back, right? And he's trying to get Kirk, and he strands Kirk on a planet, and he doesn't kill him. Well, Kirk wants to bring him down to fight, And he says, Khan, you've, like a bad marksman, you seem to have shot everybody but me, your target. If you want me, you have to come down here and get me. If you want me, Khan, you got to come get me. And Khan says, no, I'm paraphrasing. I don't know the exact words. He says, no. He goes, I have hurt you. And I want to keep on hurting you. So he just lets him stay there and he buries him alive. So right now, Trump is like, Tish, I've hurt you. And I want to keep on hurting you. So this may last some time, is all I'm saying. This may last a bit. I could see that. That's all I'm saying. So some Star Trek stuff here today. So there we go. But then again, you knew I was going to do that.
Behind that, but if these allegations that are being put forth turn out to be true, she is going to be facing the same sort of bankruptcy and turning over of her assets to the state that Donald Trump had to through that trial.
Well, I've got a sort of a follow-on question for this. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the February meeting between Trump and Governor Hochul? New York governor?
Here we go. I told you about this. See, everyone's like after me. Like I say it, no one pays attention. Then it happens. They go, oh my God, I can't believe it happened. Oh, Larry told us this like a month ago.
Hochul over New York City's congestion tax.
Yep.
Well, the New York Post is reporting that Hochul threatened Trump over the measure. Yep. She referred to the appeal against his civil fraud case and told him, I control the judges. Hochul is denying that report. But
I literally have no doubt she said it. Again, I'm being very forward. I have no inside knowledge. If I have inside knowledge, I tell you. I don't have inside knowledge, but I know she said it. Like, I know she said that. And I told you that. I said she would go down if you check. Look, I do this live. You can go back and look at the show I talked about. I literally did a show called, if I remember it right, it was Will Trump and Hochul Make a Deal? It was my radio show. And I talked about it. I said she will go down there and she will not be smart because she isn't that smart, right? She isn't. Tish is. Hochul's not. So she will go down and she will threaten Trump. She won't say, look, can we make a deal? How about I do this? Give me my congestion pricing. I can go home and say I won. I'll make an election tomorrow for Elise. You do election tomorrow. You'll win the damn election. I'll keep my thumb off the scale with your appeal process. Give me my congestion pricing. Let's make a deal. Trump is transactional. Literally, he's the most transactional president of my time. I can't think of a one more transactional than him. She should have went there and said, let's make a deal. And I said that. I told you she would never do that. Why? She's self-righteous and not that smart. So she went down and thinking, I'll show you, Trump, because I'm tough. And the Trump team said, let her go. Say nice things like, we got you. And again, Trump didn't do this. I'm also sure Trump did not come up with this plan. Trump's people said, we got this, let her go. And Trump said, she was nice and walked off and went to whatever, Gaza, whatever the hell he did, right? He did that. And the team went together and said, how do we get her? And they got rid of, they got Elise back. And then they get rid of James. That's what actually happened.
But my question.
And by the way, she could have stopped it. She could have stopped it. And I want to tell you something else. Some of you be mad that I say this, but I'm telling you the truth. If Cuomo was governor, this wouldn't have happened. Because Cuomo's also transactional. This wouldn't happen. I tell you this all the time. This is why Cuomo did not get along with our previous terrible governor, de Blasio. Because de Blasio is an actual socialist. He's an actual true believer. He's an actual leftist. He actually is. Cuomo's not that. They say Cuomo's a Marxist. He's not. Cuomo's a Cuomoist. He doesn't care. He'd be a libertarian tomorrow if he get him like. He'd be a Republican tomorrow if he get him like. He's whatever. He don't care. He just wants power. He does not care. Ideologies means nothing to him, right? So if he was governor and he had put this together, he started this. Cuomo started the congestion pricing. She just finished it. He started it. If this had happened to him, guarantee you Cuomo would have been down there in D.C., made a deal. I get you pardoned, dude. He wouldn't have pardoned him. He would have got the appeal. He would have told the judges, let the appeal go through. He'd have got his stuff done. There'd be congestion pricing in New York, guaranteed. Because he's also transactional. She's not.
Is Trump still subject to that $480 million penalty? How's that going to play out?
Well, that
whole piece is still bad. And so, yeah, he's still getting hammered for that. But that was my point I wanted to bring up. So, yeah. All right. Phil coming up with the other Star Trek quote. Revenge is a Tish, best served cold. Yes. The New York Post. They must watch Star Trek there too, which is fine. Also another good Star Trek reference. Star Trek is awesome. So just in case didn't know that, it is. That's true. Jim says Elise can beat Hochul. Not right now, she can't. That's not true, Jim. Not right now, she can't. We'll see by next year. At this moment in time, no. And why am I saying that? Because while Trump's nice words about Elise ensure that Elise will win the Republican nomination, that's a guarantee. I will bet any amount of money anybody wants. If Elise runs, Trump will endorse her. He already said good things about her already when the rumors came out already. If he endorses her, she will win the nomination, no doubt. Will she win the state? It's not a guarantee, my friend. You think it is. It's not a guarantee. Now, the advantage of Stefanik is actually not a hardcore Republican. People assume she is because she supports Trump. She is very loyal to Trump. That's true. Very loyal to Trump. But if you look at who she actually is, she's not a hardcore Republican. Personally, she's not. She's not at all. But she's very loyal to Trump. And I get it, right? I get it. Why she is. It makes sense. It's a good political move. It's been doing very well for her. So, of course. But yeah, at the moment, she can't. Remember, it's still almost 3-1 Democrat to Republican. She will need some special sauce to win. Otherwise, she's just going to be just like the last guy, and she'll lose by 5 or 6 points. Like the last guy. Same, it'll be no change. It'll be the same as 2022. No difference. So, yes. Phil says, Letitia James is the only other prominent statewide figure. Correct, which just got wrecked. Accurate, Phil. Which just got wrecked. You are correct. Adrian, thank you for being a member. I'm still mad about all the ballot access issues in New York against RFK Jr. Yes. And again, for those of you who don't know what happened, RFK Jr. had to pick a place where he lives, a residence. Now you might go, why is that tough? Because he's a Kennedy. Kennedys are wealthy. They have multiple homes. It's what they do. They have multiple homes. So he had to pick one. So he had to go to New Hampshire. He went to New Hampshire, and New Hampshire said, pick your house. He goes, what house do you want me to pick? And they said, what do you mean? Well, I'm a Kennedy. I got many houses. Which one do you want me to pick? And they go, we don't care. There's no law in New Hampshire that you have to live in New Hampshire. We don't care. But you have to have a residence in America, in New Hampshire, to be on our presidential ballot. So you have to have a residence in America. He goes, I got many of them. Where do I go? And they literally asked him questions. Okay, where's your driver's license? He said, New York. Oh, okay. Where's like your hunting license? New York. Where's your legal license to practice law? New York. Okay, New York. I'm not joking. That actually happened. He went, okay, great. He put that address down. Well, he went to New Hampshire before he went to New York to get in the ballot, just because of the timing and their laws. So he had his address from New York, from New Hampshire. So he goes to New York. He put the same address down. And they go, no. Well, I can't. I have to have an address. Every place else I've gone, I used the first one, New Hampshire, and they didn't care. There's no rule on, as long as you have an address in America, you're American, nobody cares. Oh, New York does. New York does. And the answer was not, okay, give me an appropriate address. The answer was, you're thrown off the ballot. That is how backwards and broken my state is here. I agree with you, Adrian, 100%. Super Weapons, thank you so much for the super chat. $2. This is Chuck Rhodes versus Bobby Axelrod in Billions. Ooh, interesting. Kinda. I could see it. I mean, kinda. But one's the president, so a little different. But yeah, I see where you're going with it. I can see where you're going with it. Yes. I do. I do see where you're going with it. Yes. Carol says, Letitia James reminds me of Hillary Clinton. Blame everyone else for what you're doing yourself. Yes. Yes. 100%. Yes. See, Grace is on my side. She says, I hate to say this, but grabby Andy Cuomo would have never let James get this out of control. Yes. Cuomo knows which battles to pick. True. Cuomo's smarter than Hochul. Just is. Right? James is smart too. I think the problem with James is James was thinking, anything state, I'm safe, which is correct. I'm good because I'm out here fighting for my queen and my queen will defend me. True. But this is federal. I think she had a little bit too much hubris, a little bit too much. You can't touch me. She said it. Nothing will stop me, blah, blah, blah. She's all self-righteous. Well, all I'm saying is you can be as self-righteous as you want to be, but sometimes, what are you going to do? So Ken says, if she was not eligible to be AG of New York because her primary residence was in Virginia, what would that mean for any cases that were tried during that period? I don't think that would matter because I don't think she's tried any cases herself. I don't think so. That shouldn't matter because the law is still the law and the prosecutors were still prosecutors. So I don't think that would affect. I mean, you could be an argument, I guess. You could make an argument. But this is New York State. The judge would be like, stop, go to jail, stay in jail. What's wrong with you? But yes, you would have a valid lawsuit, I think. But New York State. But yes, I get it. I do get it completely. Yeah, 100%. So, all righty. Oh, and there is the man himself, Garrett, coming in with 10 Sharpe memberships. Guys, thank you so much. Pick up the memberships. Please do so. Garrett, you are the man. I appreciate every time you come in doing that. It is so helpful for the channel. Get to do more and more. I'm actually doing another show tomorrow night and Saturday night. I know. I'm doing 3 in a row. 4 in a row now. I'm hitting them in a row now. I'm hitting them in a row. By the way, already posted on Sharpe. If you look, the show's already posted for the next 2 days. That is how good I've been doing. I've been trying to spend more time doing this and less time working, which of course means I don't have any money. But that's okay. You guys do memberships. Life is good. Please grab them if you can. It does matter. Guys, the memberships, remember the rules. If this week you made $10 million this week, you may not take the free membership, okay? So any of you who made $10 million this week may not take a free membership. If you made $9 million or less, take the free membership. Oh, good. But if you made $10 million, pay the $4.99. Being greedy, make $10 million. Pay the $4.99. So that's the rules. I hope you all made $10 million and no one takes these memberships. That would be amazing. I hope you all made $10 million. I don't think you all did, though, just because most people don't. But thank you. All right. Liberty Lady says, I miss Lisa Kennedy on Faux New Business. Yes. Larry and Spike would frequent the show often as a libertarian voice. I'm still pretty pissy about that show. It's the only MSM mainstream media show I would watch. And I will always say this whenever I have the opportunity. I will always be grateful for Kennedy. Always be grateful. When I got my butt kicked and handed to me in 2022, everybody forgot my name. Larry who? Nobody wanted to talk to me. Nobody would take my phone call because I wasn't almost the popular cool kid. I was getting my ass kicked. If you were around 2022, you watched me get it kicked badly. You watched me get hammered. And the only person in the press who still would bring me on, who would still show me respect, who would still get me on a show and have me talking, was Lisa Kennedy. She's the only one. Everybody else was like, Larry who? I don't know any Larry Sharpe. Are you on a ballot? No. I don't know who you are then. You on a ballot? You nobody. She was like, you're not in a ballot? Come on my show. And I was like, so I will always say that. I will always give respect. I will always be grateful for what she did. There were so few people in 2022 who stood by my side. So many either abandoned me or literally put an extra knife in my back, one or the other. Some people stayed with me. Most did not. Most did not. And so, yes, I will always do that. Yes. So, oh, there we go. Yes, he says, worse. Thank you. Mike knows it. I have hurt you and I will keep hurting you. So good. Yes, so good. I knew Mike would get that. I knew you would, Mike. I knew you were paying attention. I knew you'd get that immediately. Yes. So Grace says, didn't you say Cuomo smarter than Hochul? Yes, it's true. Yeah. Hochul, when it comes to this world, many people who are executives tend to be very smart. It's a tendency, right? They tend to be. Because to get to that spot, you tend to be smart. She isn't that smart. She isn't. That's why she fell into this. Again, relative to the rest. Tish James is smart. Cuomo, smart. These are smart people. She isn't that smart. So, yes. So Mike says, thank you for being a member, Mike. What kind of deal can Tish cut? She agrees there's 3 types of deals she can cut. If she thinks that she's in real trouble, Like she thinks, to Mike's point, she thinks Mike is right and she can go to prison. If she believes that, she'll make a serious deal. She'll say things like, look, I'll take a felony. I'll lose my license. And I'll plead guilty to these felonies so I can just lose my license and walk away. That's gonna deal. So she'll lose a license, so she can't be a lawyer anymore, can't be AG anymore. She has to resign. She'll be a felon, and she'll walk away. Right? That's the kind of deal she can make. Now, what if she's like not sure or it's a weak case, whatever? Then she would cut a deal for misdemeanor, which case she'd resign, misdemeanor, keep her law license. Right? Misdemeanor, you keep law license. So she would keep her law license, resign still, right? Any deal being made, she's resigning, right? That's the question is, does she get a felony or not and lose her law license? That would be the difference. What will she do? The more she thinks she's in trouble, the more she'll lose that law license. So yes. So Phil says, which is worse, corrupt transactional politicians or true believers? It depends upon what you're trying to achieve, Phil. Right? I'm an ideologue. I am. No doubt I am. So, but if I'm working with other people, I'd probably rather have transactional people because they would do things that I'd want them to do to get what I want. Does it make sense? So, but if I'm working with de Blasio, I can't get what I want done. He would never do it. He would never do it. He would rather fail and burn his head to the ground than do anything. So if I'm with de Blasio, I don't want him. I mean, theoretically, could I turn him? Yes. And there's the advantage, Phil. If I could, I'm not saying I could, but if I could turn to de Blasio, I would make him an ideologue on my side. That would be awesome. So if I think I had the time, the ability, the energy to turn him, I'd rather turn him, but I probably don't. So I'd rather have a transaction like a Cuomo, because at least then I can get something done, right? Do I think Trump is actually libertarian? No, I don't. Will he do libertarian things transactionally? Yes, he's already done so. And he would do it again. So I'd rather work with him than work with de Blasio. I'd rather work with Cuomo. Cuomo will do libertarian things. He doesn't care. It's transactional, right? If Cuomo believed that if he became libertarian, he could be mayor of New York City. I mean, that's a joke, but theoretically, Phil. And I was advising him, I would say, do 3 libertarian things, you become mayor. He would absolutely do it. 100%. There's no doubt, because he's transactional. So I would rather have that transactional if I'm working with them. I hope that answers your question. So yeah. All righty. Let me keep going down here. There was another one I want to bring up too. I'm sorry. And this is the guy who literally, I found the guy on Newsmax who actually did, supposedly, I guess it's true, who actually did the actual homework on Tish James. Now he says, this is what he says. He says he did it for free and no one asked him. Just to be clear, this guy is also a convicted felon. I'm not joking. I'm not saying that's necessarily bad or not. Look, my mom was a felon. No judgment on that. I'm just saying this guy might not be telling the truth is what I'm saying. It's possible. That's what I'll say. So, all right, let me pop this guy up. All right.
The entire world is crashing down around her as we speak, and it is something to see. On Tuesday, the Department of Justice received a criminal referral from the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency against Tish James.
Oh, he's loving this.
This allegation is one of the most ironic that we have ever heard. Tish James, who spent the last few years alleging Donald Trump's business was messing with asset valuations to get lower interest rates, has allegedly committed fraud to get lower interest rates.
Yep.
Also an array of other likely crimes. Again, this is an unbelievable story.
Oh, he's
tonight.
loving this.
It almost seems too good to be true, but the evidence looks
it passes. You
he's
guys
the one that did it. Here is how she has sounded for the last couple years when she talks about Donald Trump.
Running for Attorney General because I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake.
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
And I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. You can come after me, but
Well, he is. See, these are words that she is going to eat like there's no tomorrow, right? She is going to eat these words like there is no tomorrow.
No enemy, nothing formed against me will perish. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you.
Trash.
He goes
this
trash.
Is so good. It is so good.
This is Newsmax, though. So, yeah, I mean, this is what Newsmax does, right? I mean, I've actually met Rob Schmidt at an event in New York City. He's exactly the same way. Like, you might think that this is an act. No, this is Rob. This is actually him.
James' response to these allegations coming from her office was not good at all. Attorney General James is focused every single day on protecting New Yorkers, especially as this administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution. Yes, they actually wrote this today. She will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are.
Well, you better be.
Read that a few times, laugh to yourself, because it is funny. And that was nowhere near any kind of a denial either. If you actually look at the statement, they don't deny a thing.
She can't say
that. That might tell you something.
No. She's just savvy. She doesn't want to lie and be caught in a lie. She knows if she says something, because they'll catch you in a lie.
Tish James alleged the president and his business committed fraud by engaging in activities done by pretty much every single developer who's ever developed anything.
Yes, that's my point. That's how it is. Matt says, I just can't get into Star Trek. I used to like you, Matt. What happened? What happened, Matt? I'm kidding. It's fine. Yes. Phil says, there are people who hate Lee Stefanik. It's true. There are people who hate her, of course, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, she's going to still win the nomination, right? There's people who hate Cuomo and they still voted for him. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Grace says, Cuomo would serve Kathy Hochul up to Bondi tomorrow if it got Cuomo's Senate seat. True. Grace, that's exactly correct. That's see, you get Cuomo, so do I. People on the right who hate Cuomo, again, who hate anybody on the left. If you're hardcore right and you hate the left, you will always assign every single bad trait to your enemy. The left is to the right too, right? So Trump is everything bad always, right? And then the right is the same to the left. So you call Cuomo, he's a Marxist, he's the lefty. No, he's not, right? He's a bad guy. That's 100% true, right? He's a bad guy. That's absolutely true. But he's not a leftist. You're totally right. He would serve up Kathy Hochul tomorrow if that's how we get a deal. And he'd take that seat as a Republican. He wouldn't care. He'd be a Republican tomorrow. Yep. He wouldn't care at all. Yes. 100%. So I like that you get that. Like, I like that you understand that. That's so good. Not everyone gets that. You do. So Phil says she was a George Bush staffer. Yeah. So, all right. Mike goes on to say, he says, I agree Trump is locked into endorsing Stefanik. Yeah, I think he will. And I think he wants to. I think he's okay. I think he's mad about it. I think he's happy about it. I think she knows it. I think everybody gets it. Yep. Mike goes on to say Stefanik can win, needs a bit of help. That's it. She needs something special. She needs something special. By herself. Jim says, turn out, my friend. All right. In theory, that's true. Turnout, yes. But you would then you're going to have to assume, Jim, that Democrats turn out to vote for Elise Stefanik, who is a Trump loyalist in New York State. New York State still does not like Trump, right? New York State Republicans love Trump, but New York State as a whole does not like Trump still. They still don't. That hasn't changed. And again, most people who would vote red are still leaving the state at 300,000 every year. So more people who would vote red are leaving every year. This is not an easy task. You would have to have twice as many Republicans show up as normal and half as many Democrats show up as normal. Could it be done? Yes. To Mike's point, with some help, but not just her. Elise is not a bad candidate, but she doesn't have that amazing charisma, right? She doesn't have that. She's not a Clinton-esque Obama. She's not as funny as Trump is. She's not as smooth as Reagan was, right? She doesn't have those things. She's not bad. She's not a bad candidate. But when it comes to that type of charisma, she doesn't have that kind of charisma. Same, she doesn't have it. So it's going to be a lot. I mean, yeah. And you know what's going to happen. They're going to try to turn. They're going to go out of their way, as they always do, to turn Stefanik into Trump. And just like they try to do with the last guy who ran. Same thing. And he lost by 6 points. If you do something special, she will too. So I'm saying, I get what you're saying, Jim. Turnout. I cross this state more than anybody who's not a candidate. I meet people all the time. I am on the radio show, as you know, all the time. People call into me. I talk to them. I meet people. I chat. People text me. This state's still blue. It's still blue. It will take something special. That's all I'm saying. It will take something special. So yes. Andrea says she got too cocky on her power. Yes. She did. She absolutely did. She was thinking that she's untouchable because she's the Kingslayer. And to be forward, she's the reason Cuomo is gone. She's the reason that Trump is a convicted felon. It's because of her. She has been effective, Andrea. So she does have something to hang her hat on. This is not something she just made up. It's real. She has victories. She is the Kingslayer. So I get it, but she just went too far. She just went, and that's always my worry. I told you I was worried, Andrea, that the Republicans run the country with no pushback from anybody, that they will go too far. That might be happening now. I told you because Democrats here in New York, there's no competition. They'll go too far. That's just human nature. That isn't Republicans, Democrats. That's just humans. Well, I can do whatever I want. Yep. Absolutely. Yep. Smith. Okay, Smith's got a joke here. He goes, it's like Tisha is too black, on crack, and tore back. James is going to jail. Goddamn girl, you stupid. That's funny, Smith. I like that. I don't think she's going to jail, though. I know you and Mike wanted to go. I don't see it. She makes a deal. Well, look, if I'm wrong, I'll bring Mike on and he'll gloat for an hour. It's fine. Mike will come and gloat for an hour if I'm wrong. But she's not going to jail. If it's bad, she will absolutely make a deal. But she's not doing jail time. She's not doing jail time. Yes. So anyway. All righty. Let's see if I can keep doing this. Yeah. Well, super weapons. Come for the king, you better not miss. Yeah. And she went down and came for the king, and she missed. Yes. And she missed. Absolutely. She definitely missed. I agree with you. So let me grab this guy here.
Maximizing valuations when borrowing against assets to secure.
You guys have
better
already heard this stuff already.
Bank. Trump's own bank.
I do want to grab this guy
Deutsche
here.
Bank.
Hold on. Here we go. Hold on, one more time. Here it is.
Stand up to an administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale.
I didn't make that up. She said it. She said it.
Too male, too pale, and too stale.
Yeah. That's not going to go over well. Yeah. Jim says Hochul has charisma. I never said that. Did someone say she has charisma? I never said that. No, Cuomo has charisma. Did I say? I hope I didn't say Hochul has charisma. If I said that, I take it back. I didn't mean that. If I said that, I misspoke. Cuomo has charisma, right? Whether you like Cuomo or not, he's got charisma, right? He does have charisma. Hochul was just right place, right time. That's just right place, right time. That's it. Right place, right time. That's the way it would work. So yeah. All right. Let me go. I want to go to the guy who actually did work on this. Here we go.
These are the people that lead our communities. How sad is that? All right. We have a great guest tonight. Sam Antar is a forensic accountant who has a very colorful past we'll dig into here in a bit. Mm-hmm. He is the man that dug all of this up on Letitia James. He's the source of all this information. Sam, thank you so much for joining us here on the set.
Thank you for having me on, sir.
You're a New Yorker. You live right down the street. And this.
Yeah. He was like, I got to fix this. And the problem is he says no one told him. He just did it. Yeah, I'm not buying it. Felicia says, why does the left think it's okay to say racist stuff? This is what they complained about with Trump. Yeah. Remember, there is a there is a theory, which is not true, but it's a theory, that it's not racist if you're not the power group. That I know some of you fell off your chair. This is the theory. I'm not saying I agree with it. This is the theory. If you ask me, I go, no, Felicia, you're wrong. See, because she's a woman of color, that means she's not part of the establishment. And that means she's not part of patriarchy. So that means she's, because of white supremacy, I'm going to get canceled on YouTube for saying that. But because of that, then that means that she can say this stuff and it's not racist now. I'm not joking. That is the logic. There has to be a power dynamic for it to be racist. It could be prejudice maybe, but not racist. That is the new left speak that makes this okay. And the funny part is, even if you were to believe that, which I don't, that's BS, racist is racism, but that's okay. Even if you did believe that, she's in charge. She literally has the power. She literally has the power. Okay, yes, woman of color, but she's a woman of color in power. So if there is a power dynamic, she's at the top of it. And in their eyes, no, it's not racist. Well, yeah, I'm sure she could put literally millions of white people away, pale and stale and male people away all day long, and does. The jail's full of them. Prison's full of them. So yes, you asked why they think that, because of that insane thought process. That's why they think that. It's wrong. It's the racist. You're right. But I answered your question, I hope, at least. So yeah, that is crazy. Yeah. Any case, I hope that makes sure. All right. Jim says, you said Elise doesn't. No. It's not what I said, Jim. I said she doesn't have the same charisma as those heavy hitters. She has some charisma. Elise is not a bad candidate. I'll be very clear. She's not a bad candidate at all. She's not. So please, you're taking it as a 0 to 100. And I'm not saying that. Hochul has no charisma. She's boring. She's silly. She tries to speak from the cuff and she collapses horribly. So yeah, Elise is better than that. Elise has more charisma than that, but she's not as charismatic as, say, a Clinton-esque figure. And to get over the hump in New York, Elise can win in her district easily. She has enough charisma for that. She's savvy enough. She's smart. Easy to win in her district. But I'm talking she has to now get enough votes in New York City, in Buffalo, in Syracuse, in Rochester, in Ithaca, Watertown. Not easy. Binghamton. Not easy, my friend. Not easy. So yeah, that's all. Matt says, after DEI and affirmative action, how can they really stand up there and spew about working twice as hard and get the same things as white males? Seems I've been discriminated against in my 30-ish years. Yeah, and this is an issue that a lot of people are talking about now, right? In fact, I'm going to do a show on this tomorrow, talking about this idea. A lot of people, particularly if you're younger, this is the biggest issue, right? Younger women in America now, and I'm saying younger, under 30 or so, 35, 30 or younger, are doing very well in America. In fact, in America, if you're white and you're a woman and you're under 30, you're doing better than any other demographic. In any way you could measure it. You make more money, have more friends, have more sex, have a higher chance of getting hired. I mean, it's win-win-win. You are winning in every way you could imagine. You are winning. Higher education, I mean, you're winning, right? You are the best demographic probably in the world right now, that age group. The problem is most people who are teaching them are women in their 50s and 60s. Now, they're not in that spot. They're not. They came up when Tish came up, it was a big deal, right? She's 66. So that was not true when Tish was coming up. That's not true in that age range at all, right? They were fighting through stuff to get what they were getting. The younger ones aren't in that trouble at all. I mean, as a group, obviously there are women who are under 30, under 35 who are getting hammered. Of course, those exist. I'm saying as a demographic. So she still thinks it's 1980 when she was coming up. It's not. Right? It's 2023. So yeah, that's the big issue. So Felicity says she's gonna go see Dave Smith. Awesome. Tell him I said hi. Tell him I said hi. There we go. So all right, let me grab a little bit more of this guy here.
This is some fantastic work here. I want to start and get into just the specifics first. Starting with this Virginia property that she claimed as her primary residence while she was, I mean, this is Norfolk, Virginia. This is probably a 5-6 hour drive, claiming it's her primary residence while she's the AG of New York. From your report, you say James signed a specific power of attorney declaring her intent to make 604 Sterling Street in Norfolk, Virginia, her principal residence, a legally binding statement that may have automatically vacated her position as New York Attorney General under Public Officers Law 30.
I wasn't making that up. That's true.
Declaration that came just 45 days before.
Public Law 30. New York does not play when it comes to residents. Does not play. We do not play.
She launched her case, her civil fraud case against Donald Trump. Tell us more about what happened in Virginia here.
She purchased a property with a relative. This is in 2023. A few weeks. She closed
2 years
on
ago. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She closed on it right before the Trump trial. And in the file documents with the county clerk's office, there was a power of attorney that she gave her cousin or niece to close the mortgage. And on the power of attorney, she represented that I intend to use this property as my primary residence. Now, there's two problems with that. The first problem is she lied on a power of attorney. Would anybody really believe that she was going to move to Virginia in the middle of the Trump trial? Second part is there's section 6 of the mortgage that states that the borrower, meaning her and her niece, have to occupy the property as their primary residence within 60 days.
Both of them do.
Not one or the other.
Both of them do. Wow. That's how the law works.
She at least never occupied it. Right. That's
and that's my issue. Her 1980 thing when she said she was her dad's wife or whatever. I don't care about that. That's 40 years ago, whatever. She was an AG then. You know, she's trying to get a place as a young 20-something, whatever. They should throw that 1981 out. That's nothing. This one is something. This one is something. And I'm telling you, this could be a problem. So, yes. Jim, you are on this. You say Hochul will alienate many voters. The unions already hate her. Unions do not hate her, my friend. That's not true. The unions who hate her are the same ones who always hated her, which is cops and corrections officers. Teachers unions still love her. They haven't stopped. Why do you think she's doing that black kids to swim thing? That's to get more union jobs. Unions don't hate her. Dude, that's just not true. Unions do not hate her. The police unions do. The corrections officers unions do. But all the rest of them, the most powerful union in the state, hands down, teachers union. They don't hate her. That's not true. They didn't like Cuomo. They didn't endorse him. They said nothing. They'll endorse her in a heartbeat. Of course. I'm not sure. I don't think you're right on this one. It's nowhere near as I know you want to believe it. Look, I want to believe it too. I'm just saying it's just not real. It's just not real. It's not there.
What was the motivation to do this? Why lie?
Lower interest rates.
Lower interest rates.
There we go.
I'd call her a petty thief.
A petty thief. This is, I mean, this is.
But that argument of petty thief, that's the argument Democrats are going to make. That's why you heard him say it. They will make that argument. It's small. Trump is destroying the world. She's just getting a couple extra points off her mortgage. That will be the argument. And again, if it wasn't for the rest, I would agree with him. But the situation changes because of who she is. So I don't. Phil says, Robbie the Fire performed in my basement once in a winter porch tour. I remember. Robbie the Fire is funny. He is. I've had him on my show before. He is funny. Absolutely. So, Grace says, Hochul will win again. Not enough Republicans in New York. It's literally math. Phil says the only way for there to be a Republican victory in New York is if there's a 20 to 30% siphoned off by the DSA. DSA could run somebody, in theory. They could. Mamdani is doing that here, right? Mamdani's doing that here. Well, yeah. So Jim goes on to say, we shall see how much teachers unions love her when Uncle Joe's purse is empty. She will just give them more money, Jim. I'm telling you, you're underestimating her in this one. The one thing she does well, the one thing she does better than Cuomo, and I've said this more than once, I try to give people credit where credit is due. Her ability to hand out jobs, second to no one's. She finds money and hands out jobs, right? I mean, it's what she does. This is her only skill set. It's why she's in power. That's her skill set. And she's good at that. That's all she's good at. But she is good at that. So to do more of it. Grace says, with ballot access and 10 million, Larry has a better chance of beating Hochul than any Republican. It's a numbers game. True. Thank you, Grace. It is true. Garen, there is no doubt that in New York State right now, me on my podcast here, me traveling across the state every year, me, the guy who does a radio show out of Western New York, that's just me, some guy who lives in Queens. Right now, I am the most popular independent candidate in New York State. I'm not making that up. Look at the polling. 2021, I polled at 6%. 2022, after getting my ass kicked and not being on the ballot, on a Republican poll, I still polled at 2% in October, after already losing and getting my butt kicked off, not being on the ballot. I wasn't on the ballot. I polled at 2%. Not being on the ballot. When I was on the ballot, I polled at 6%. So, yeah. It's true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So I thought this guy's pretty interesting.
When you look at the allegations she made against Trump, is this act worse, better, same?
Okay,
oh, no,
here we go.
Listen, Trump is not a real felon. I'm a real felon. Okay, so so Trump didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, you don't see anything wrong in the case you made against Trump. You think? I mean, obviously, the jury here thought that he did something wrong.
Now, this is good pushback. This is actually a good pushback because this is what Democrats are going to say. This is good pushback.
Well, listen,
it seems like what every developer has ever done.
You should have listened to the appellate arguments because the appellate judges seem to be. It seems like they're going to write an opinion that's going to vacate the entire case.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's because it obviously was. We were all astounded by what they.
Now, the reason why I brought this up, this piece here, is because someone else asked earlier, what kind of deal can they make? This is the deal they can make. Larry, wait a minute. Are you saying Kathy Hochul could make a deal to make sure that Trump, gets, his case, appealed and wins his appeal? Yeah. I'm saying that could happen. That's what I'm saying. That could happen. Yes. They can make that happen. Right? Brian says, what? Trump's not a felon? He means in his view, Brian. That's what he means. He means in his view. That's what he means. He's saying in his view, he is a felon at the moment, right? He is. That's true. But if he wins his appeal, he would not be one if he wins his appeal. And that's my point. This could be a deal. I'll say a couple things. In theory, Hochul could just pardon him, right? Hochul had cards, but she didn't go there with any of the cards. She didn't do that at all. And she should have. She should have gone there with her cards and said, look, I'll put my finger on the scale. Give me what I want. And you might say, Larry, that's unethical. Yes, and it's politics. Yes, and it's politics. And Trump's a deal maker. She could have done that. Now he's fighting. I would have much rather just made a deal. That would have been way, way better if you could have done that. So anyway, that's a Newsmax article. I think you guys would enjoy that piece. I thought you might. There's one thing I want to show you, though. What I couldn't find was a story like this on CNN. I'm going to show you something from CNN from 11 years ago. This is pre-Trump. This is pre-Trump. And this is important. Why I'm saying this. Hold on. This is 11 years ago, and this is an interview with a Democrat who's running for New York City Comptroller, Eliot Spitzer. Yes, the guy who was disgraced and had to leave.
And the candidate for New York City Comptroller, the author of the new book, Protecting Capitalism Case by Case.
This is a Democrat writing a book called Protecting Capitalism.
Eliot Spitzer himself joins me now. Mr. Spitzer, thanks for being here. I want to start back in 2008. What you did was incredibly reckless, and perhaps more importantly, it was very illegal, as you know.
This is Jake Tapper attacking a Democrat on CNN. You won't see that today. This is something. We just saw a unicorn. This doesn't happen today. It doesn't happen today.
a Class E felony, paying for sex, a law you signed, bumping it up to Class E. When was the last time you broke that law? 2008?
He's literally asking, have you purchased services from professional women since then? He's asking that question. Jake Tapper would do it to a Democrat today? Never. This is what CNN used to be.
That's correct. And you know, Jake, I have, as your appropriate introduction made clear, I have spent 5 years doing many different things, not just hosting here on CNN, which I enjoyed during the period I was here. I was teaching at CCNY. I have also participated in other activities, run our family business. And so it has been a 5-year stretch during which time I have thought, reflected, and tried to think through not only what happened, but assess my desire for public service. And hence it has taken me to where I am today, as you pointed out, running for office.
And but to be precise, you have not broken that law since 2008.
I just want you to see that. That's what's supposed to happen. That's how it's always supposed to happen, right? That was 11 years ago. 11 years ago. Yes. So, and to be forward, all of the things they're talking about, what Spitzer did, what Trump did, what James did, in my view, none of them are crimes, in my opinion. Brian, I'm not saying they aren't crimes. Clearly they are crimes, right? I'm saying, in my view, they're not crimes. Who cares? There's no victim, right? It's not worth it. So if you're saying what Tish James did was make some problem with her, fine, sign a, I'm sorry, pay a fine, move on. Trump, okay, you put the wrong words. Is Deutsche Bank mad? No, sign it, sorry, pay a fine, move on. Spitzer, he paid, consenting adults made a deal with cash and physical something or other. Fine, I don't care, whatever. That doesn't bother me, again, personally. The issue in the case of Spitzer, the issue in the case of James, is both of them were hypocrites. Both of them were punishing others for exactly the same thing. Literally, they literally ruined people's lives for exactly the same thing. Yeah. Matt says, if you got to pay to get something, then you do what you got to do. I'm not mad at him for that. I'm mad at him, Matt, for literally ruining other men's lives for doing exactly the same thing and then doing it yourself. That's my problem. That's my problem. Yes. Jim says consensual equals legal. I wish that were true. Jim, I wish that were true. Sadly, it isn't. So, yeah, I just thought that was interesting that you guys could see that piece. I mean, when you're looking at that, this is something that you just didn't see, right? You just didn't see. So I'm going to bring up this last little piece if I could. This is a chunk, again, from Fox Business about Elise Stefanik, as I was telling you about. Just so you can see this little piece. And then I'll cover why that matters, why this is related, why it's related, because it kind of is. It is a little bit related.
A run for New York governor. She's already making the case for a GOP win in 2026, saying, quote, Hochul is the worst governor in America.
True.
Her incompetence, corruption, and radical failed far-left policies have destroyed our great state.
That's not true. That's not true. Her radical policies are continuing destroying our great state that started years ago. But yes, so nitpick.
Causing businesses and families to flee. President Trump seemingly getting behind the idea, posting on Truth Social. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is great. And there's brand new polling from Marist, finding less than 40% of New Yorkers approve of Hochul. And more than...
Now, they don't approve. That doesn't mean they're going to vote for a Republican. Let's not fool ourselves. What that means is they would rather vote for a different Democrat. Now, Trump's team knew that, and they just got rid of the most popular one. So, yes.
Half of residents do not want her to run again. Let's bring in New York State Assemblyman Jake Blumenkrantz. Assemblyman, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Cheryl.
Yeah, so what do you make of this idea of Elise Stefanik running for governor of New York?
To me, it sounds like a fantastic idea. We got a great crowd of candidates who are potentially going to be running this year or in the next.
Okay. He has to say that, but it doesn't matter. He has to say that. I get it. He's on TV. Got a bunch of great candidates. Elise is the nominee. I will bet anybody any amount of money, doesn't matter what it is, anybody, any amount of money, if Elise Stefanik runs for the Republican nomination, she will win it. I'll bet you now. You tell me. These other people, they're only going to run against her for two reasons. One, they want to raise money, right? Or their status by being in a primary. They're going to raise money or their status by being in a primary, one of the two, right? Or maybe they want to be her lieutenant governor or something like that. Maybe that's it. For their own, they're not going to win. Or two, they're delusional. She's going to win the primary. I'm not saying she's going to win the governorship. I don't think that's true. She's got other work to do to make that happen. That's not easy, but primary, guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Next election, we need to see leadership that actually listens to New Yorkers. We've seen crime on the rise. We have a holy trinity in here in New York. We have housing crisis, a migrant crisis, a cost of living crisis that's killing everybody.
But no answer.
And Governor Hochul's touting new taxes. Right now, we have a $250 billion budget here.
Yes, he's not wrong. But my point being, why does this matter? Because the Trump team would love to get New York to win in 2026. Why? Why would a New York win be so amazing in 2026? The problem is there's an actual chance, depending on how bad Trump's tariff stuff happens, that the Republicans might get their butt kicked in the Congress. That could happen. If they get hammered, if the Republicans get hammered in 2026, which could happen, but they win New York State, all good. All good. But no one will care. Like they take New York State, that'd be crazy. So that's why Trump's team are like, yeah, let's push this. Let's see if we can make this work. I'm not sure it's the right answer. You guys are already saying it. Grace is like, Stefanik Zeldin 2.0, get behind Larry in New York if you're going to fix your state. Thank you. I appreciate that. Nate says, throw your hat in. Larry Sharpe, New York State governor. You know, I got your back, brother. I appreciate it. Yes, absolutely. So yeah. Michael says, AOC for governor. Okay. Michael, I want to be clear about something. That could happen. Michael, that could happen. She's growing her, ability right now with Bernie. She's young. She could do it. That could happen. And she's old enough. You only have to be 30 years old to be governor of New York. You have to be 35 for the president, 30 years old to be governor of New York. She's lived here for 112 years, so she could do it. She could become governor of New York. That is the thing. Now, does she want to do it? It is a massive gamble. It's a massive gamble. You would have to go against Hochul and beat Hochul in New York State. And she is the ring giver. She is the job giver. That is not an easy thing to do at all. So my gut now says she wouldn't do it. But could she? Yes, it's possible. Possible. But I don't see it at all. I don't see it. I think, Phil says it. She can win everything but the primary. Correct. And she is still seen as very far left. So she could win New York City in a heartbeat. Right? She's hanging out with Bernie now. But the one thing she's doing is she is seen as by some New Yorkers as a fighter, which that's an advantage. But I'm not sure that she could the establishment is kind of with her, kind of not. She's now walking that line. So I'm not sure that's the answer. I'm not sure it's the answer. But could she try it? She could. I don't think it. Jim says AOC wants to follow Kirsten. Maybe. I think Mike agrees with you. He says AOC wants Senator to get president in 2032. Look, could AOC win a Democratic primary, presidential primary in 32? Absolutely yes. Assuming that 7 years from now, if Bernie is still around and he's still active, she could. It's possible. If she spends the next 7 years doing stuff, staying active, being out there, she's got a shot. Could happen. She could win the nomination. Could she win the presidency in 32? Look, if Trump screws this up horribly, or J.D. Vance wins afterwards, he screws, maybe. I mean, you never know. Possible. But primary, I think, yeah. I think she could win primary. I think she could do that. Guys, I'm going to ask you one more time. If you don't mind, please click the button known as like. I know I bug you often. I do it because it matters. I want this to grow. I want us to grow. I very often am frustrated because I'm trying to give people insight so that they care about this system and they can fix it. I'm trying my best to do it. I'm trying to give you interesting stuff, funny when I can be funny, topical when I can be topical, cultural stuff, political stuff, stuff that matters for our country because I care. I do. Clearly, I do. I want this to grow, and I often get frustrated because it doesn't grow as well as it can. Why? Because I've been banned the shadow type for a long time, and I still am. To get past it, I need extra out of you. I do. I need extra out of you. I need every single like you possibly can. I need to share this whenever you possibly can share it. I need all the clicks and comments you can possibly do. But two things. After this is over, I always ask you, please do it. Come back on the site and put comments on after it's over. Once it's done, the new Al Gore rhythm does like that. It really does. So if you want to make that happy, make Mr. Rhythm happy, come back afterwards and do it. And if you're watching this and it's not live, like it's over, right when it's done, click on another video from the channel. Watch like 5 minutes of 10 minutes. It's 8 minutes. Watch 8 minutes of it. Watch 8 minutes of that video. Just watch 8 minutes of that video. That's it. Whatever it is, do that. You do that, and we can get this thing moving. I know I ask a lot, but there's no other way. So please help me out with those two things when you can. It really does matter. I don't see any other way of making that happen, right? We have to make that happen. It does matter. Literally, he says, we appreciate you doing this, Larry. Well, I appreciate it, you guys. I mean, you're always here. So I do appreciate that. Absolutely. Guys, I will be on tomorrow. Absolutely. So let me ask you, if you would put in your in the comments afterwards, who do you think will run for president in 2028? Who do you think will be running for president in 2028? I will see you all very soon.